Hello, beautiful. Hello, hello, and welcome to the sorority with your host, Jessica Mystic. This is Rituals for a Rich Life, and this is episode 2 of this 3-part series. And I really wanted to kick off your new year getting into it. So we already had our activation homework, integration homework on Monday. Hope you all did the exercise. And then we had our first kickoff bonus drop, Rituals to Rich Life episode yesterday, where we got into the importance of intention setting. Now, today, we're going to expand on yesterday's a little bit. So we're going to expand on episode 1. So when we're saying making space, we're actually going to really anchor into this seeking joy and getting really into embracing life's most vibrant moments. Because how fucking boring is it if you're not actually feeling and experiencing the magic and wonder that is out there in this world, right? So I want to talk about walkabouts and walking with intentions. If you're tired of the boring business coaching bullshit out there and the mindset woo that doesn't really work and just leaves you feeling even more lost in outer space, well, my Mystic Sister, you have finally landed in the right place. Welcome to the sorority with Jessica Mystic, the podcast where we ditch the brain shame and learn how to manage that creative, multi-passionate, magnificent mind of yours. That's right, I'm going to help you cash in on your creativity and chaos through mindfulness and creating cash habits that work while building the most beautiful and abundant life for yourself. With weekly integration activities and my proven manifestation methods, we are going to help you go from feeling unstable to becoming unstoppable in your life and business. I am so grateful to have you here, sister. In this community, we are going to rise and shine together. On that note, let's go make some magic. We already talked about setting intention and getting deeply rooted into our actions, but I want you to actually make an effort to find movement where you can anchor into gratitude and awareness and the intentions of this existence and what you're doing moving forward. The intention is momentum, right? So let's gain momentum. Let's gain that movement. Let's seek joy. Let's make room for fun. What good is life if we're not having fun? Right? That's ridiculous. This isn't some kind of purgatory where you have to be in pain and suffering all the time. Although sometimes it really does feel like it. I'm not gonna lie. So why is it important to explore and feed our creative mind? Well, if we don't feed our creative mind, we become a victim of its insanity. Point blank. That's what it is. Our brains are crazy and we need to manage it. But if we don't move, if we don't physically move our bodies, if we don't get that energy moving out of our minds into our body and gain some sort of physical, legit, measurable momentum, the wheels just keep spinning. They just keep spinning until we have a meltdown, and then we gotta fucking recoup, and that shit can take a lot more time. Think of a ride, it's a roller coaster ride. Our brain is a roller coaster ride. We're just fucking holding on tight, going through the loops and ups and downs. But if we don't do regular maintenance, this shit gets off the rails, right? So we want to have fun on this ride. We want to enjoy it. We want to feel the butterflies in our stomach as we're climbing the hill. We're ready for the big drop, and then we'll ride that shit out, but we don't want to crash and burn. Right? And we're so afraid of that because we know how bad it can be. We know how bad it can be. So I really want you to start thinking about regular energetic assessments. What the fuck is weighing you down? Because we all know how science works. And if you don't, I'm going to school you right now. Because inertia, baby, the more weight you're carrying, the harder it is to slow down. Right? Think of if you're running with a backpack on and you try to slow down, the way that backpack's pushing you forward. If you're in a moving vehicle and you slam on the brakes, you're moving forward, right? Inertia. So you need to do an energetic assessment, because just as a physical item that you're carrying, any energetic shit that you're carrying is also going to have that same effect. Inertia is inertia. I don't care if it's a physical form or energetic form. Science is science, man, and energy is magic. That shit is all around you and it is existing. You don't need to believe in magic in order for this to be true. Although anyone who believes in anything still believes in magic, because, fight me on it. Magic's everywhere. Fucking life is magical. That's my opinion. Sticking to it. That's why we're here. We're all about making magic happen. But if you're carrying too much shit, can't stop, won't stop, it's a lot harder to manage yourself, your mind, your intentions, your energy. So you really got to make time to have fun. And in order to do that, you need to get really mindful about your schedule. So when you're setting up your rituals for your rich life, when you're looking at that space, I want you to even take it a step further and find fucking flex days. Like, you need to have flex days. You need a day off. And unfortunately, but also fortunately, because we're mothers and we love our children, but I mean, unfortunately, there is no time off from being a parent. Even if you're a mom who might be a single mom, or if you're in like a shared custody situation, like sure, you might have a weekend without a kid or whatever, but you're still a parent. You're still thinking about them. There's always going to be that hypervigilance that exists in your mind. Like something just happens when these children get popped out. This is your baby. Now, the same goes in business. If you don't have children, you're going to feel the same way about your business. Your business is your baby. Okay. So even when you're taking a day off from your business, just like if someone doesn't have their child that weekend, you're still thinking about your business, right? So we need to manage the weight of that business. Now, as our business grows, it's just like as a baby grows. So as my kids grow up, they are heavier to carry around. I just weighed my son was so happy yesterday. Let's just take a side note here. He was so happy because he's finally 40 pounds, which means he can switch his car seat from the harness to the seatbelt. And we celebrated. He was saying all night, dancing around, I'm 40 pounds, I'm 40 pounds. And he's so proud. But let me tell you, carrying 40 pounds around is hard on my back, yo. And my daughter, she's still young. She still wants to be picked up and loved and carried from time to time, but she's like 50 pounds. Almost. Not quite. Yes, my son's a big boy. He came out basically 3 months old. So anyways, now when you think of your business, we celebrate the growth of our business because it starts small. We want our businesses to grow. But as they grow, they cost money. They cost time. They cost dedication, especially when you have to push through all the shit. Like it's not instant. There's no get rich quick, build your own business out there that works. Not without weight. You can save time and you can have support by hiring coaches, by having a community, by hiring team members, but there's still weight that needs to be carried. So when you get to a point where you're wearing all the hats, you're carrying all the weight, even the energetic weight of behind your business, the fear, the scarcity and the lack that you feel when you have to go into debt or take out a loan or use a credit card, or maybe when you're hiring coaches in high ticket programs, those investments are a lot. When you open a new location and get a new space, or, if you want to open a new school like I did, that shit costs money. When you invest in product, like I became a Canadian distributor for biotech with my Mystic Gal Inc. PMU and tattoo school this year. And that's an investment when you're buying pigment and investing in programs and rebranding. And I can go on and on and on. There's all these investments that come into our business. And each of these investments have both like a monetary weight that we would have in our conscience because we're always thinking about money. Because without money, your business dies. But it costs money to set up a business that will make you money. So all of this weight is in each decision that we make. We're making a decision on how we're going to run our business. We're making a decision on how much time we're putting into our content creation. What is our content? Like there's weight there, like worrying about what we're going to make, what we're going to create, what we're going to do, what services are we going to offer? How are we going to make our services different? How can we make our services better? How can we? So all of that, all that question and improvement and refinement, that is a weight that we carry. There's all these different forms of weight that we're carrying. So in order to manage this, we need to make consistent check-ins and energetic assessments because every decision has an energy and weight allocated to what we're carrying. To do this, you're going to need flex days and time alone. So if you're having that time in the morning we discussed before, or if you have a flex day, Fridays are my flex days. I've set my business up now that I have Fridays as a flex day. I don't make appointments on Fridays unless I choose to make a personal appointment on a Friday, or it's a flex day. Because sometimes in business, you can be like a type A planner. And I mean, I like to procrastinate by over planning because I think if I over plan, that things will happen faster, when really I can end up wasting time by planning shit that hasn't happened yet, and you got to let it play out. So I like to go week by week. I have Mondays where I work on my business. They're my CEO days. It's my make shit happen Mondays. And then Fridays are my flex Fridays or my finish it up Fridays. So in my flex Friday, I like to think they're days for me, but I absolutely schedule a minimum of 1 day a month that is just for me. I do not book clients. I do not book calls. I do not book anything. That Friday is explicitly mine to choose to do what I want. Usually it means I want to wear my sweatpants all day with no bra and do whatever happens while I'm in that state. And if that so happens to be a finish it up moment where I've got to go in and make sure invoices are sent out, or if I got to go in and make sure things are paid, things like that getting done. But the more shit I have to fit it on a Flex Friday means I need more support, because that's more weight that I'm still carrying. So as you're growing, you need to be mindful of where things can be tidied up. Because if you find that that time you set aside for yourself is constantly being filled with shit, well, you got to move it to another day or find some help. And this is exactly why I actually hired a accounts receivable and accounts payable person to manage my payroll. Because I had Mama C to help me out for a long time. But then I found that I had to go in and try to learn programs and try to do the money thing. And I got so much going on as it is. It was not something else for me to take on. It was too much weight. So I hired help. Right? Now, another form of weight that we're carrying that's taking up this time in our schedule and in our brain is like just the garden of ideas that we're growing all the time. Like, you got to weed that shit. You got to weed that shit. It never stops growing unless you're in like total shutdown, hibernation, freeze mode, which happens. I've been hospitalized a few times for burning a little too bright at times. So you want to make sure that you're finding time for you to talk it out. If you get so caught up in your head, this is why we need to have that momentum, taking those walks, having time to talk it out with a friend, with a mentor, with a therapist. You need to find ways to get out of your head and back into reality, into this present moment. I really like yoga to help anchor into this present moment. I get so much clarity in yoga. Like, I get the best fucking ideas when I'm in downward dog. I really do. Maybe it's because the blood's rushing to my head too. I don't know. But when we feel a different kind of pain and discomfort, like I do when I'm doing yoga and I'm moving my body and I'm intentionally moving in a different manner, that's when some of the best ideas come to me, because I'm not forcing it. I'm not making it happen. It's happening on its own because there's movement. Energy needs to move. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can drive you fucking crazy. It's like, kinetic energy is stored energy. An atomic bomb is stored energy. When that shit goes off, it destroys. So you need to be mindful of getting that energy out before it fucking blows up. Straight up. Whew. Getting passionate now. Speaking of energy, I need to move my body. As you can see, I'm laying on my floor today because that's what brought me joy. I had to do a belly lay on my fuzzy carpet. Oh, now I want to stretch my hips because I'm thinking about yoga. So, like in a half child's pose right now. If you're on my YouTube channel, you're going to see me, maybe possibly my belly hanging out of my pants. No, we got that contained. So we didn't have to go that far. But you'll see me kind of like in this odd squat position on my floor. You know what? Because I fucking feel like it. And movement. I have to have some movement. And this time, my last episode, I was so intentional with all of my Post-it notes and all of my books and everything on the floor around me. And this time I'm making room for what feels good. And what feels good for me right now is stretching my hips while talking to my computer and into my mic and recording this podcast and making this YouTube video. So do what feels good. Make room for joy. Like, when you do a yoga pose and it kind of hurts and things seize up, at least that's what happens for me, because that's just the way it is. But it's not about being perfect. It's about having that surrender and that release. So we kind of like ease into it and finally take that breath and like you release and you go deeper into it. That's what you're looking for when you're finding this movement in those moments. It's taking like the practice and that protocol, like stretching feels good. When it doesn't feel good anymore, just move out of it. So like I've been sitting here stretching my hips for a bit and that's like, what? Now it's kind of starting to hurt. So I'm going to change positions. Oh, I thought I was going to sit up, but you know what? I want to go on my belly again. Now I'll put my feet up. like a girl in the 90s talking on their cord phone in her room. That brings back memories. All my see-through furniture. But just finding space to explore, play, move, give yourself what you need. That's why flex days are so important. And if you don't have a flex day, give yourself a flex hour or two, flex evening, a flex morning. I don't know. Just find some flex, physical flex, movement, momentum, space. And you need to draw a boundary here. This is also extremely important. Now, as much as we have this flexibility and flow, we still need to have, I don't want to say balance because that implies 50-50, but we want to have a boundary when we find this space and things get busy, because it's really easy when you see a gap in your schedule to fill it with a client. You're like, oh, I could fit them in here. Oh, I could fit this in here. Stop trying to fit shit in. We're not the vibe of making it fucking work. Like, making it work is what we do when we're surviving and trying to get through or figure something out. There is a time and place for making it work, but you do not repeat the make it work. You get it out, you do the damn thing, and then you refine and make it better. And then you hold that boundary, because you're holding that boundary. That's like the bar you're setting for yourself. You don't put the bar back down. Like, the flex means you take what you need that day, but you don't lower the bar. That bar remains where it is. If you're not going to go jump over that bar that day, that bar still stays there. Okay, so that boundary is keeping that bar wherever it is on the scale where it belongs. You want to go swing off it, you want to lay under it. I don't care what you're doing in that day, and that flex time is yours. But that bar, you do not lower the bar. You keep yourself accountable. You hold that boundary, and you give yourself that damn space. I don't care how busy you are, you're going to find time, and you're going to hold yourself to it. If you have to pick one day a month, pick one day a month. I would love to just have every single week. I'm working on it. But then I feel guilty because I feel like I should put things there. And I'm scaling 2 businesses at the same time and training staff. So like, there are times when you need to show up and be a boss, but you get to choose when you do those things. So if I want to go in on the weekend and hang shelves or do something in my business, I'm choosing to go do that. If I want to book someone on a Tuesday when I usually do calls on a Monday, I'm choosing to do that. But just don't constantly sell yourself short. If you do something and you have that feeling like, oh, I wish I would have blank, you're robbing yourself of joy. So constantly be in the constant pursuit of joy and embrace what works for you, not what makes more work for you. All right. So now I do want to touch base on this bar thing, because I want to make sure that when we often set really high expectations, like as a habit, and we always feel like we're falling behind and we're never enough. And it like takes a big hit to our self-worth. So I want you to let go of your expectations. You want to keep the bar where it is, but you have to release the expectations around that. So your bar is your non-negotiables. When you set the bar high, that's because you're not going to take shit that's any less than blank. You're not here for that. You're worth more than that. You're not going to take extra drama. You're not going to take people being rude to you. You're not going to take, like, set the bar where your standard is, your non-negotiable, and how you want to show up and what you're going to take on. Like, whatever's not going to weigh you down more. Your bar is like, that's it. Anything above that's going to break the scale. So let's just keep that where it is, and then let go of the expectations surrounding what's happening. So in that flex day, if you tell yourself on a flex day, I'm going to just sip my tea and watch a movie and blah, blah, blah. But then on a flex day, it happens and your kid's sick and you have to go pick them up early. And it kind of like, don't ruin it. Don't make an expectation of, well, now my day's ruined because this didn't happen. No, it's a flex day. It may not have gone the way you expected, but you have to find flow and forgiveness in how things happen. Or maybe you have a flex day, but you were on your phone and you got distracted and you ended up going down a rabbit hole and ended up doing some work and like planning a bunch of content or whatever that day when you weren't supposed to do that till Monday, but you did it on the Friday. Don't get mad at yourself. Now you did it on the Friday. Well, that was your flex day. If that's what you had to do to feel like it was done, fine. But then take that time, hold that boundary, and give yourself that time back where you would have done that on Monday. Because now you have a little more freedom to go get a nice coffee at the cafe or take a little stroll Or maybe you just want to go walk around Shoppers Drug Mart and look at nail polish colors and the names of nail polish because you just find that entertaining and it gives you blank space. You're going to go sniff perfume samples because sometimes it's fun to just smells evoke different feelings and emotions. I don't know. Inspiration days. Make time to go for these walkabouts and walk with intention to create this like creative inspiration day. Your creative mind needs inspiration days. So you have the flexibility. Now, I want you to take that flex day, like I mentioned, wherever that flex time is, and get intentional about having these inspiration days. So whether that's doing like a Pinterest dive, that's one way you can go about it because you could like vision board style Pinterest hole. Sometimes that's really self-gratifying. Sometimes makes you feel like shit. So you get excited, you put all the stuff together, but you don't know how to make it happen. And now you've created another project for yourself. That's not what we want to do. My inspiration days, I like to go to Shoppers Drug Mart, wander the cosmetic aisle. I like to go to Michael's. I believe the equivalent to that is like a Joann's probably in the US. But I like to go to a craft store essentially. And I like to meander and just look at all the different shit. I like to go to Staples, so the stationery store. And I like to look at different colored pens. Sometimes I'll just pick up different kinds of pens. I like to get notebooks. I like to go look through almost every single agenda and planner and how they're laid out. And like, I just go down. It's just a thing I do. I have this thing where I just have this intense obsession with organizational color coding materials and supplies. So that's what I like to do. Inspiration days, just mosey around. You know, my husband and I remember when my daughter was born, we would make a point of like going to Winners, which is, I guess, like your TJ Maxx, and just meandering because it's fun. It's just fun to see, even if you're not buying anything. It's just you get inspired. Our creative minds need the movement, the walking and the movement and the going out and being out of your own space and just looking at shit without a purpose. And then you get ideas. Naturally, when you try not to do things, things will come in because our brains don't stop. So I'll go on inspiration day and just make space. And I'll have like all these amazing ideas come through. And you're like, oh shit. It's just what happens. So seek joy, make room for fun, embrace each moment as it comes, and just find that flexibility where you can let some of that weight go. Okay. I need you to just make time to feel lighter in your schedule. You have too much shit going on if you're feeling super heavy and weighed down. So I want you to, at the end of this Ritual for Rich Life, I want you to make a habit of doing a weekly energetic assessment, at the very least a month. Every month, you should have a meeting with yourself, a staff meeting with all the voices in your head, asking yourself, what doesn't serve me? What do I regret? What do I feel shitty about? What's making me feel gross? What am I annoyed with? Anything that's in like a energy that's too heavy and is not serving you, if it's not something you can like finish and move past, like there's always growing pains, but if it's a constant burden, release that shit. Let it go. Hire help. Okay. If you can't hire a team of employees, you can still contract out things that are tedious. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm really good at doing a lot of different shit all the time. Like I am very good at tech, but it irritates me when I could be doing other stuff. Like just because I know how to code a website doesn't mean I want to. Just because I have a degree in design doesn't mean I wanted to do my rebrand myself. I hired a designer. There's no shame in hiring someone to do something you don't feel like doing or don't feel excited about yourself. Sometimes it's nice to step away and have someone else do it for you so you can just have the overall say. Give yourself time. Give yourself the ability to play. Make time to play. Make time to make money. Having fun doing it. Okay? Jeez. Until next time. If you love this podcast, be sure to follow, rate, or even give our sorority a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. While you're at it, you can even subscribe to the YouTube channel. Better yet, share this episode with your BFF or another business bestie. Not only will you put a huge smile on my face and fill my soul with pure joy, but you're also going to help show others that there's real value here for them too. Not to mention help build our community. Much love, many blessings, and shine on, sister.